What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to episode 16 of the Starship Evo U.S.S. Revengeance build. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning in today's episode. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. Today is First Contact Day, April the 5th, so happy First Contact Day. Um, Several years in the future, in 2063, on this day is when Zephyr Cochrane makes contact with the aliens. So that's about as much nerding out as I'm going to do today. But still, I want to wish everybody a happy First Contact Day if you're a fan of Star Trek. But today we're going to be picking up where we left off on the Revengeance, getting some much needed detail building done on the interior. We're going to be getting some more stuff done on the hallway here going into the bridge, and then we're going to move into the area directly behind it where we're going to have our crew quarters. And I believe we're going to work our way down into the secondary hull to get some more work done in engineering. About a 20, with commentary, I think we're going to end up at like a 23-minute video. And I'm just going to be making a couple of changes here and there. You see I'm deleting the sides here. And the reason I'm doing that is I think I'm going to kind of rework this area right here. I don't know. Like, I wasn't really feeling how this came out before. Um, We're just going to be deleting a little bit more of this back. Now, I know some of you are probably going to be asking when the Enterprise D build is coming, and I have finished the U.S.S. Cerritos tutorial, and those of you that are waiting for the tour, that's going to be coming out tomorrow, but that will be the last video that I'm going to be doing for the week. I'm going to try to get the Enterprise D done this weekend, but I don't want to promise that. I've made some more progress on it, but it's a lot of work to do on this ship, and I'm trying not to rush it. I think a ship of that scale requires a little bit extra care to make sure you're getting it right. And there have been one or two places that I've even had to backtrack and kind of do over again because it just didn't come out the way I wanted it to, because I've never made a Galaxy class ship before. But I'm hoping that I can get uh, the tutorial done this weekend, at least for the outside of the ship, so I could take a screenshot and get this thing rolling. I finished most of the underside of the saucer section. I will have to make a correction on it this weekend, and then I also have to complete the top side of the saucer section. But once I do that and I get some more detailing done, we're going to start it. So I'm shooting that I can try to get it done this weekend, but it could go out to the following weekend too. I'm just going to play it by ear. But I'm not trying to rush it. But if that does happen, I'll only be having the U.S.S. Revengeance going for right now. But as soon as Enterprise D starts, then we'll be picking up Minecraft again Tuesdays through Fridays. Um, so yeah, we're just kind of chugging away here, trying to get as much done as I can within a reasonable amount of time between work, personal life, and then hopping on here between these two games and getting this content out. It's been going pretty well, and I've had a decent amount of people checking my videos out and commenting, so I just want to thank you very much for that. And you can see right here, everything I'm doing with the upper slopes, and I use the single blocks, trying to make like pillars coming out. I think this flows a lot better than what I had going on before. Feels a little bit more like a complete piece. Um, Before, what I had in this front section here kind of felt a little bit more like two ideas that weren't really meshing together all that well. So on the sides, I'm going to do the lights going. I don't know. Maybe I'm overdoing it with these blue lights a little bit, but they look so good. Um, I think it really helps give that little bit of extra oomph for detail on the ship. Right now, I'm just kind of looking for an area to stick this light at. Can't really do it behind there. It looks like I could, but I can't. I'm just going to pop it right there. I can always put a wall up right here behind it, or even leave that as is, and I don't think that would necessarily be a problem. We're going to get rid of this block right here. I think we're just going to put smoothing that out with the smaller block. There we go. The gap up top really doesn't look that bad. I might even leave it like that, but I think all things considered, that doorway to go into the bridge looks so much better now than what it did before. Um, this hallway, or excuse me, corridor, is really finally starting to come together. It still needs a little bit more detailing, but we're getting there. And sometimes the best thing to do when you, right after you just did something, was to walk through it and check it out. But if you want to get another idea of where I got the reference to do the outside of this area, there's a reason why I rewinded this video. So I'm going to stop here so you can see this doorway. I actually made this not identical, but pretty close to the other side of the doorway that leads us into the bedrooms on the side and the lower hall. As you can see here, I mean, it's not identical, but it's fairly close. And you'll hear me talk about this a lot in my Minecraft builds, but you can definitely apply this over to Starship Evo. That when you start building out your ship, um, pay attention to your design cues, because when you start to carry those design cues over room to room, that's when your ship starts to feel like a fully formed ship rather than a bunch of just random ideas smashed together. Um, it's taken me a while to develop that skill, or not even necessarily skill, but the eye to notice those details and when to apply them. And I mean, there's really no wrong way in doing it. It's dealer's choice, but still, like, pay attention to your design cues and what you're doing with your doorways, what you're doing with your walkways, what you're doing with your ceilings. These are things that you can apply room to room. And when you do this, you know, your ship's going to look a lot more whole, is what I'm getting at. You can see right now, I'm just covering up the last of the impulse engines that we can see on the inside of the ship. This whole area that we're in right now, there's a duplicate on the opposite side. This is going to become crew quarters. I think we're going to end up with like 5 or 6 crew quarters. At one point, I was going to do a medical bay, but then I was thinking more about it. And I was like, you know, kind of feel like I need to throw crew quarters here. I may actually add a proper medical bay at some point and a transporter room. Um, but in order to do that, I'm going to have to make engineering smaller. But that could end up being a thing in future videos. Um, but I don't know. We're going to play it by ear, because um, this whole tutorial series has been an experiment to see if people would tune in week to week rather than day to day on a weekly basis. And so far, it's gone pretty successful. Um, and you know, there's still plenty of build to do on this particular um, ship. But once I'm done with it, you know, I'm going to be moving on to another build for Starship Evo, which will be pretty cool. So let me know what ships you want to see me build. I think right now, one of my #1 requests have been something related to StarCraft, which would actually be kind of cool. I've talked a little bit about this in the past, you know, what I could do. There's a couple of ships and vehicles I think that you could possibly build from StarCraft and apply it over in this game, and it would look cool. But if there's something that you want to see me build, drop a comment. For whatever reason, if you have questions regarding this build, or if there's other starships you want to see me build, let me know in the comments section. I definitely would love to hear from you. Um, but yeah, you know, just kind of chugging away with this. This point in the build was before I determined I was going to turn these areas into single rooms. That's why you see I'm looking to put this med bay down. But pretty much everything I'm going to come up with for this specific thing, um, I'm going to kind of fall flat on. So really, you know, I wanted to do something way more detailed. So we're at the next point in this uh, particular episode. I've flipped these videos together, so we're at the next point. And what I decided I'm going to do is start at the doorways and kind of work my way back. And one of the things I really wanted to do inside the ship is have a couple of automatic doors. So I'm just kind of cleaning up the entrance with upside down slopes because again, I did this in my other rooms, so I'm paying attention to my design cues and trying to carry that over room to room to maintain that building form that I've talked about. Um, Once we have our archway established, we're going to throw in and start working on an automatic door that we can add in here, and I think that'll be pretty cool. We don't necessarily need it, but why not? That's kind of how I look at it. Why not? If you can't figure out a reason that you shouldn't have it, then just go for it. And if you do it and it looks like it's too much, you could always take it out. But I've also got my symmetry tool activated. Um, I always activate my symmetry tool unless I don't want the same thing on both sides of the ship. But definitely very helpful. You can see now I've deleted another row and I'm switching now to the smaller blocks. And that's because I'm trying to kind of plan out and accommodate for the fact that I'm going to have a sliding door directly behind this. If you followed me on my past builds for Starship Evo, what gave me the idea to do it this way was, believe it or not, the Eagle 5 from Spaceballs. Um, the doors that I had on there, I kind of built them in the same way, and I kind of decided, like, well, I can kind of do something like that. Um, my doors aren't like super complicated. They're relatively easy and noob status, I guess you could even say, but they don't look bad. They really don't. Um, and I've kind of, been still casually playing Starship Evo. I really haven't put as much hours into Starship Evo like I have with Minecraft, but that's not because I don't like the game. I really do love this game, and you can definitely expect me to continue doing builds on here. But I'm kind of like not rushing to build a bunch of stuff at the moment because I'm waiting for them to get a little bit more stuff out. I want to see what they're going to do with it more. I really hope that they get explorable worlds. I think that's a necessity. Some more building blocks, variety. I think that would be cool. There's a lot that they could do, but regardless, I'm not going to be stopping my content on here. Once I'm done with the Revengeance, we'll start another build and just keep it going. So definitely let me know what ships you want, because you never know if I get enough people commenting and asking for it. If it's something that I can get behind and I have passion that I can do, like, definitely bet that I will attempt to do it. So right now I'm just getting some lighting in, and I've kind of gotten the sense at this point that I think I'm probably going to convert this room to crew quarters. Um, at least at this point in the build, I was starting to think that, but I still hadn't firmly dedicated myself to, like, okay, yeah, this is what it's going to become. But just kind of doing it slowly but surely, adding a little bit of detail here, adding a little bit of detail there. I think the blue lights in here look pretty good too. This corner here on the left is a little funky, um, but we can make it work. So I did do one tiny thing here at this point in the episode, because this is the next point of the clips. We're at the doorways to go into our crew quarters. You see that we have our 4 small pillars that we added, and then after that there's like 2 rows of blocks I deleted. And the reason I'm doing that is because this is where I'm going to be putting the automatic doors. And I'm going to be grabbing the small sliding rails. You can see I deleted a row of blocks underneath here. Now what I'm ultimately going to have to do, here we go, I've got the smaller block, I'm going down 1 because we need a lip. And then we're going to go back to the sliding rail. There we go. Now we're in good shape. I'm actually going to have to move that back by 1 because where I have it placed right now, it'll hit the wall. There we go. We'll just add one more row, and then we can close this off with a small block. And now we'll do the sliding rail. There we go. I finally got what I wanted. Why I kept deleting this is because I wanted the starting doorway to open from this side and go out. I guess it wouldn't necessarily matter. I guess I could have just connected it, activated it, and had it come and close, and I would have gotten that. But at this point, I was still kind of new to doing the doors. I've only done a couple of them so far. So one of the things they really don't show you how to do super um, detailed on here. I actually had to watch a couple of tutorials myself to figure this out. I've seen some people do some outrageous stuff on here, and I just like the elevators, for example, haven't been able to exactly figure out the elevators just yet. And I even downloaded one that somebody had done, and I looked at the thing, and I couldn't really necessarily figure it out. What I think I'm ultimately going to end up doing is messaging the guy and ask him what he did to figure that out, or if he watched a video or something. But they have the right idea with this game. Their starter room. When you go there, it shows you how to build a bunch of stuff. I wish that they would add more wings to it and show you how to do these automatic doors, show you how to do the working turrets and things like that. I think that there's still a learning curve on Starship Evo that they could definitely address, and it would benefit the overall quality of the game for sure. Because I definitely like this game. It just some of the things on here, it's not so cut and dry. Like their starter room, like they do a fantastic job at showing you how to get your ship going. But after that, um, it's they don't show you how to do a lot of these other things on here. So that's something. But all things considered, the game is still relatively new, and it's only being developed by one guy, which is freaking nuts. I've seen games that have been developed by an entire team of people, and it's glitchy as hell. Excuse my language. Ark's one of them. When Ark first came out, I was one of those people that was playing it on day one on PC. And I can't even say I played it on day one because I don't think anybody could, because it actually took 2 weeks of patches before I could actually even play it on my PC. But I remember what I went through with Ark, and it was a buggy trail. And like Ark wasn't the only one. Like the Forest, that was another one. But actually, I kind of take that back. I feel like when the Forest first came out, um, that game was pretty cool, and like through the updates, they kind of ruined it and made the cannibals more afraid of you and stuff. And uh, I like the way it originally was because like when you first started in the forest, as you built up your base, the cannibals considered you more of a threat, and you get more waves of them. And it kind of feels like as you get bigger now, they get scared of you and run away and whatever else. I kind of went off, skewed off to the side there, but the point I'm trying to make is that all things considered, the state that the game's in, it's so impressive that this was made by one guy. I know that he's outsourced um, some things here and there to either another developer team to help with some small things on here, but I mean, this game is very playable. I really haven't experienced many bugs on here. I think the one bug that I did experience on here, I wouldn't even call it a bug. I had gotten into one of my ships and I went to warp. And while I was going to warp, I made the bright idea of getting out of the cockpit in my bridge. And I just watched my ship fly off into space. It was actually my very first NX-01, the one that you guys saw me build. If you saw it, um, that was the second one. The first one, I'd like to believe that it's still drifting somewhere in the galaxy, that it's still out there. But um, yeah, I didn't have any of the beds to teleport onto it, and it just kept going. I didn't make a copy of it. It's like I learned two valuable lessons that day. always copy your ship before you take it out, and never, ever, 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 ever get out of the cockpit driver's seat while you're going to warp, because your ship's going to fly off into space. But other than that, I've been pretty lucky on here. I have not experienced any bugs. Like, this game is very stable, and like I've had a couple of people ask me that, like, this is still a beta game. How stable is it? It's only being developed by one guy, and like what you see here is what you're getting. And like, yeah, I'm flying around right now, but that's only because I'm in creative mode. But that's the other thing too. Like right now, and I still think that's a thing. It's been a couple weeks since I've actually gotten on Starship Evo, but I think that's still the only game mode that they have available is the creative mode. But you can change change your walking pattern from being able to fly and whatnot, so you don't always have to fly. I just like to be in fly mode because it makes it easier to build, and you're not just hopping up and down. You don't have to go back and forth between it. So I kind of just made the rule for myself that while I'm building, I'm just in fly mode. It makes life a lot easier. All right, so that looks pretty good. I have gotten my doorway up, but it looks like I might have made a small boo-boo. Yep, I did. So what's happening is that wall that I added is closing on me. So what I'm going to have to do is I have to start it right at the point from my doorway ends. And I think we can bring that up almost all the way. Let's try to open that now and see if it'll let us do it. Yeah, because I think what happened before is that the lip of the wall here, I brought it too far out. So it was connecting, it was actually snapping on to this other wall. Now, since you can see, I brought it back by a couple, and I have it starting where the doorway ends when it's closed. It works out pretty good. And we have an automatic doorway now going into what's going to become our crew quarters. And now I'm just going to clean up the entrance here a little bit, make it look a little bit nicer than how it looks right now. There's not really that much that we have to do. I think I'm actually going to move that up one. Yeah, that could look better. And then we'll do another one underneath it. And a lot of this stuff I'm doing here, as you can probably figure out by now, I'm really just winging it. Sometimes that's the best thing to do. Some of my best builds that I've done on both Starship Evo and Minecraft, I didn't necessarily have a clear idea of what I was going to do ahead of time. I just started building some stuff, and if it was coming out great, cool, I just keep going. And if it can't started just coming out really bad and I really wasn't feeling it, I'd take a break from it and step away, and then come back at a later time with a fresh uh, set of eyes, and maybe even stopping and looking at some reference material to give me some ideas to inspire me. Because that's a great thing about shipbuilding on here. You can take a reference from anything. You can take a doorway, a corridor, a captain's lounge, you name it, from any show, movie. Doesn't even have to be Star Trek. It can be from anything, and you can just hodgepodge it together. Um, and that's kind of what I did with the Revengeance, but I stayed within Star Trek. I took a bunch of ships and just kind of shoved them together, and we got this. But as you can see, this doorway, it's looking pretty good. Um, we're definitely getting to a point now we're going to be adding in our crew quarters. Um, I thought we were going to be getting down to lower hull, but it looks like that won't be until next week's episode. But still, we had kind of a long one today. But I think that's going to wrap us up. We've gotten a lot done in today's episode. Um, but yeah, I just want to thank everybody again for tuning in to today's video. And if you did enjoy this content, please help me out. Hit that like and subscribe button, helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. Everybody that takes the time to watch my videos, comments, likes them, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for that. And new subscribers, also don't forget to hit notifications on so you always get notified when those new videos drop. And speaking of new videos, don't forget you can always catch my Starship Evo builds dropping on Mondays, my Minecraft videos dropping Tuesdays through Fridays, and those videos usually drop at 7 p.m. Eastern. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. I just want to thank you all again for tuning in today's episode. I hope everybody has a happy and safe week, and I'll catch you on the next episode.